It's like my first day of school and I'm super excited. I'm driving to school and I am about 15 minutes away and class starts in about 25-30 minutes. I usually try to be in class sitting in my seat by this time, but I woke up at 4 and I just couldn't sleep and got caught up in doing a bunch of stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to bring y'all along with me today, tell you all about what I've been doing and what's gonna happen today. So stay tuned. I'll be back. Okay, so I'm back. Corrections. So in the first video I said that I was going to show you how I study. That was really just how I take notes. So I want to cover that. So what exactly am I responsible for and what exactly I do? So there's a lot of components. You have the note taking component, so like what I showed you with the books and my binder. There's just that aspect from lecture that you're responsible for. You're also responsible for Edgit. So Edgit, EDGT, Edgit is an online platform that we have to go on, and we have to go through these assignments, do the modules. They're called modules. You read the lesson and then you answer the questions. In the end, you take an exam. So so far we've had 2 of those, and each one has 3 exams. But each module will have like 8 components, if that makes sense. So like we did one over charting. So charting had like 8 or 9 objectives, and in each objective that could be 1 to 20 pages that you have to like read and then click and read and click, and then it'll ask you questions in the end. And then once you're completely done, you take 3 exams. And so we're responsible for that. You can take the exams as many times as you like to receive your 100, but again, that takes time. So that's one thing. The second thing we do are our online skills modules. So usually every Monday, now every Sunday, there's an online module due. Sometimes there's 2 due. And so basically the skill that we're going to go over, usually the skill that we're going to go over that week, the following week, or the upcoming week, we have a module over. Now your modules, same thing. They may have 5 or 6 objectives, but in each objective there's like 20 slides. And in those you have, of course, the first part tells you the introduction, so what you should expect to learn. And then from there, it gives you information. It usually goes through the nursing process, if it's applicable. If not, if it's teaching you a certain skill, it tells you like if you can delegate it to like a PCA or a CNA or someone like that or not, what you should assess for, what you should evaluate for, what are your expected outcomes, what are your unexpected outcomes. So it tells you that kind of stuff. In between, there are activities, there are questions that you have to answer. And again, after each one of those objectives, there's a quiz. And then at the end of all of those objectives is an exam. And so the exam grade is what we are responsible for submitting. You only have to make a 75 on those to get the points that's been assigned to it. But some things I have a little bit OCD about, and that's one of them. So I just make sure I get 100. But I'm not the only one. So anyways, dosage. So every Thursday we have dosage, and our wonderful instructor teaches us how to do a dosage calculation. We use the method of dimensional analysis to perform our calculations, and I actually love it. It reminds me of conversions, which kind of to me is what it is, but it makes learning the different conversion factors a lot easier. So I'm very thankful for that lesson, because I had not learned dimensional analysis before. Also, she posts the quiz that's due. So every Thursday we have her class, and whatever she teaches us that Thursday right after the class, she'll post the quiz, and you have Monday night until 11:30 p.m. to submit your quiz. And so I usually do it right after class. It's fresh on my brain. I've practiced enough, because she gives us quite a bit of practice questions to go over in class, and then if you want, she'll even give you some extra ones to do at home. And of course you have your book that has all the practice questions. So I try to do it while it's fresh on my brain, and that's worked for me. And then there are other assignments. Like, for example, today I had to do my daycare observation. So I actually ended up going to my daughter's daycare. I did not observe her class. Number one, we're instructed not to. Number two, I wouldn't have done it anyway. She would have been extremely possessive, and I would not have gotten to be able to observe how freely, how I would have wanted to. And so that would have also inhibited her from just being how she is at school. So I actually did the grade level above her, or the age level above her, and I really enjoyed myself. The whole point of that is so that we can go through the growth and developmental stages, and so that we can also observe the children based on certain developmental theories that have been established, with Freud and Piaget. I'm probably saying his name wrong. Erickson, all those gentlemen. We have to basically compare what we see to their theories and write a paper on it. We also had to, because we've already done this, did vision and hearing screenings, and so we had to go to either a daycare or a school. We were assigned to these places. The daycare, the observation I did today, I chose. We were able to choose. Sorry. The vision and hearing screenings, we were assigned, and so we were assigned in groups. We went to our location, we checked in, and we stayed with them pretty much the whole day. We did vision and hearing screening. I think my group did about 115 kids, and it was, for lack of better words, a very exciting day. I can't go into details, but yeah, it was exciting. And so those are like other things that you do in addition to your notes, going back over your notes, trying to make sure that your notes that you have from lecture and whatever you need to go into the book about align with the objectives so that you are prepared. And so there's also a TI. So if you remember these books, this is what you call an ATI series, and so we don't actually use all of these. I'm actually missing two. I'm like, where's the one that I'm looking at? I was looking for the one that I use now, and I noticed that it's not in here. That's because it's back there. So there's two books that are actually missing from these two. They're about this size, of this orange one, for fundamentals and for peds, because it covers some of the developmental stuff. So these books, most of these I won't need right now. They're a little bit ahead. And so we have an online version for the ebook people, and then we also have the printed version. I actually use both depending on where I am and how much time I have to do something. If I'm at the doctor, if I am wherever, I can either scroll through my phone or I can take a book with me to read while I'm bored. One thing you'll know, or you'll find when you start school, is you will always try to find time to get something done. Okay, like people want you to do stuff. They're gonna want you to come here and go there. You're not gonna want to because you're not gonna have the time. You'll be thinking to yourself, I could really be getting this assignment done or this done. I could be reading this. I could catch up on my notes. I could turn this module in. I could have this done. So there's like all these things that you have to do, and so you're gonna really limit your time to other people. So hence the reason I haven't made videos like I wanted to. I want to make a weekly video. I may have to just shoot real-time videos and then collect them together to make like a weekly video, or at least a bi-weekly video. So just people, okay, I'm not the glammy glam girl. That is not me at all. So don't ever expect some kind of grand production. I'm going to keep it real with you always, and that's how I want to present my videos. I don't want you to see just the good. I want you to see everything. Hell, last week in class I had a freaking meltdown. Okay, like a whole total meltdown. Tears and all, because there's a lot going on. So most of you know I'm going through a divorce, trying to get all that taken care of and put behind me, going through things with my daughter. My family has a lot of things happening, and so you have to learn how to kind of keep that in front of you but keep it blocked out, which makes no sense, but basically it's there. And so you have to deal with it, but at the same time, you can't allow it to take over your mental, because there's no space for any of that, for any of the nonsense. There's no space for it. I digress. So if and when you find time to do more things, because you will you will need to do more than just this to prepare for your exams. People talk about nursing questions all the time. You see memes, you see everything regarding these kinds of questions. And let me just say, they are true. You cannot overthink. For me, it's overthinking. When you have a master's degree, especially in biology, you have to overthink. You have to think to the most finite detail. In nursing, you cannot do that. You have to stick to the surface, stick to the black and white, and go from there. Don't add anything to the equation or you will miss it. Trust me. So when you have time, you go through these books. There's a success series. Right now I just have fundamentals and peds. I will purchase the other ones because you have to purchase these. I will purchase the other ones as I approach those classes, but these are great resources, people. So they're just, I don't like to write in it because it's just questions, but questions, and then these are rationales. So you'll have a section that has questions and these are rationales. So there's also this Saunders book, NCLEX book. And so you probably think, of why are you using an NCLEX book? You're in your first month of nursing school. You really don't need it. On the contrary, my friend, you see these tabs? There's a reason. So these are things we went over in class, and it's not just some of it we have not, of course, but a lot of this in growth and development across the lifespan. This is where we are currently. There's a lot of helpful information in here. There are also a lot of questions. I stress answering as many questions as you can. That was my friend's biggest note to me. Make sure you work on questions, because the more questions you answer, even if you're getting them wrong, is adapting your mind to how these questions are worded. You can know the information back and forth, but if you don't know how to answer the question, you will not get it correct, especially select all that apply. People feel like select all apply are the death of them, and they can be because you know there's at least two answers. Sometimes there's three, sometimes hell it's all of them. That's very rare, but sometimes it's all but one. And so you have to know which ones that apply to that specific question. And these books, they help you with the question taking part. And they also help you with class, because they give you this one is just books. This one is just questions. This one has like a synopsis. It gives you a very short, cut and dry version of the text, and also so do the ATI books. The ATI book gives you a nice quick summarization of all the main points, and it helps you go through that. So those are all resources that you can use. Yeah, so that's just how my week goes. That's how things are at this point. Real quickly, I want to show you the other two books. This Jarvis Physical Examinations and Health Assessments. This book, we use it in health assessment class, and man, when I tell you, it has a lot of helpful information. When you need to assess someone, it tells you what to look for, how you should do it. Great book. This book, NANDA diagnoses. So that's what you will learn the language of NANDA. This book has it. So in the front, it tells you like those are the medical diagnoses, which we do not make. That's what the doctor does. We make nursing diagnosis, which is how the client or the patient responds to their illness or whatever their medical diagnosis was. So whatever the medical diagnosis is, we have our nursing diagnosis. So it gives you for each medical diagnosis, it gives you different nursing diagnoses. And so at the back, it goes into detail. It gives you the NANDA. So I have Post-its everywhere, guys. It gives you what the diagnosis is. So what exactly does it mean? It tells you what it's related to. What are your risk factors? So these are things that contributed to, or could be the cause of said diagnosis. And then the outcome. So what do you want your client or your patient to, what are you expecting for them once you apply your care? And then it gives you interventions. So things that you should be mindful of and things that you can do to help the patient feel better. I'm going to end here. The video's a little long. And from there, I'm going to pick up probably life in the day. I didn't say that right. A day in my life. Bye.